Hey there, everybody, and good Thursday evening to you. It's Eric Wilhelm here with Weather for Weather Geeks. It's the Valley's most in-depth, nerdy, geeky, detailed weather video. We don't have a lot of huge weather stories ahead of us, although the weekend will be somewhat eventful. But we don't have a snowstorm ahead of us. We don't have the kind of wind, the magnitude of wind that we had about a week and a half ago is not likely with our weekend wind situation. We'll talk about that more in just a few minutes. First, since we're now a week into March, I thought I'd do a little review of the first 7 days of the month. What a week it's been. We haven't been above freezing since Saturday. I mean, this is impressive stuff for early March. These are the highs. Today is 28, the best we've done during the work week. Overall, this is the sixth coldest start to the month of March on record in Youngstown. 2014, 5 years ago, was colder during the first week of the month, but not by much. So a whopping 10.6 degrees colder than average through the first 7 days of March. That's pretty impressive stuff. And, you know, we saw this coming. We started really talking about a cold start to March in the second or third week of February, and it certainly came to fruition. But I wanted to find some positive news. It's cold out there this evening, but hey, it's 6 degrees warmer than this same time last night. We've started to turn the corner, and you'll really notice the change Friday afternoon and heading into the weekend that we're finally busting out of the extreme cold, the unseasonable cold. Not a lot of barn burners on our national radar this evening. We have some unsettled weather in parts of the western U.S., including the Central Valley of California. We have this little system in the east, and this is what we've been keeping an eye on all week. Our forecast has been pretty consistent in that we've always expected this to be largely a miss for us, and I've pretty much removed any chance of snow from the forecast for Friday. This is going to be kind of I-70 and south, it looks like. So a little bit of snow, Parkersburg, Marietta, Athens, heading over towards Morgantown, Clarksburg, maybe as far north as Pittsburgh. They get grazed by a little flurry activity, but that's about it. You'll see that on our model here. From the panhandle of West Virginia on south, there can be a little snow, even a little rain for the afternoon. For us, I think it'll be a fairly cloudy morning. I think the clouds will try to thin from northeast to southwest as we get into the afternoon. All right, let's start talking about the weekend. I think Saturday starts with a good deal of sun. Clouds will tend to increase as we go into the afternoon. Now, it's going to be a nice day. It's going to turn breezy, but we'll make a run at 50 before the afternoon is through. But this system looks like a little bit faster than the last couple of runs of modeling, and so we've brought in the chance for rain a little bit sooner on Saturday, perhaps even just after sunset by 6:37, 7:30. May try to start to rain. It actually might rain at a pretty good clip here for a while Saturday evening. You'll also notice it's going to get kind of windy as well. And, of course, the wind will be a story during the second half of the weekend as well. But for Sunday during the day, I think it's largely dry. We'll be in this dry slot. And the real, the legit colder air is behind this front. The first front is more of a wind shift rather than an actual cold front. But this is the front that will bring in the more seasonable air behind that system for Sunday night and heading into Monday. So, again, this could be locally heavy rain for a couple of hours Saturday evening. Here's a look at our model spread. The Europeans suspiciously lower than the rest of the modeling. It's kind of an outlier. As you can see, most of our other modeling is clustered in this zone of 3/4 of an inch, perhaps even close to an inch worth of rain Saturday night. So, I'm not real concerned about flooding issues, but if you live in an area of poor drainage or an area that typically sees some minor issues when we have a decent amount of rain, just be a little bit weather aware as we go into Saturday night. Winds. Now, we've been talking about the wind on Sunday, but we don't want to sleep on the wind Saturday night. It's going to be pretty bad as well. Again, not as bad as our windstorm from a week and a half ago, but still a 40 to 45 mile per hour gust will be possible Saturday night. I think the wind we'll see a little lull early Sunday, but by midday and afternoon Sunday, we could be seeing more 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts for a time before the wind starts to calm down late in the day. So here's a look at the weekend forecast. Temperature-wise, pushing 50 Saturday, pushing 60 Sunday. I've taken down Sunday's high a few degrees, but I still think with enough sunshine, we can get well up into the 50s. And it looks like a dry day as well, aside from a stray early morning shower. No severe weather concerns here, but Saturday could be a decent severe weather episode in the lower Mississippi Valley. So from Louisiana and eastern Texas through Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, over into Alabama as well. That could be a national weather story as we go into the weekend. Back here, aside from the rain and the wind and the warmth, our other story this weekend, sort of dealing with the weather, but this is not really weather related. It's more of an astronomical thing, and it's a human-produced phenomenon, what we call daylight saving time. I think there's starting to be a little more momentum these days for the elimination of the routine of changing the clocks. In other words, I could see in the next 5-10 years legislation is passed where we just stay on daylight saving time year round. We're already starting to see that in Europe quite a bit, and I wouldn't be surprised if this spread to the U.S. in the next 5 or 10 years. But in the meantime, we still have daylight saving time for part of the year, and Sunday morning at 2 a.m. it'll become 3 a.m. And that means that unless you go to bed an hour earlier, you're going to probably lose an hour of sleep Saturday night, but sunsets by Sunday evening will be close to 7:30. All right, we are the media sponsor of the Mahoning Valley St. Patrick's Day Parade Sunday afternoon in Boardman. 1 o'clock is when that kicks off. A lot of times this is a cold affair. This year it will not be cold. It will be windy, though. Look at these wind speeds and wind gusts. That is going to be the big story, aside from the fact that it's not going to be freezing cold. In the longer range, this is the 8 to 14-day precipitation outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, and it's a pretty dry-looking map here, you'll notice, across a lot of the lower 48. I expect a fairly benign period, precipitation-wise, I should say, from roughly, say, the 15th through the 22nd of March. Don't expect a ton of rain, don't expect a lot of snow during that period. What I do expect is it's going to be fairly cold compared to the average in a lot of the country. And while the coldest anomalies may be centered out here, I think from the 15th through the 22nd, we're going to have a hard time seeing average. A lot of the time, our averages are rising fairly quickly at this time of the year. It's hard to keep up with them a little bit. But by that week in March, our average is about 45, 46. And I think we'll see a lot of highs in the upper 30s to around 40 during that stretch. That doesn't sound that cold because it has been so cold lately, but again, keep in mind our averages are rising quickly, and so many days in a row where we are 5 or 6 or 7 degrees below average is still pretty significant. All right, I am off tomorrow, so no Weather Geeks on Friday, but I'll update you Friday and into the weekend on the weekend weather happenings occasionally on Facebook and on Twitter. Make sure you're following the rest of our team and also the Storm Tracker 21 Facebook and Twitter accounts. I'll see you back here for Weather Geeks on Monday.